Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I will be playing a Psychic spread list featuring Cofagrigus, and my opponent will be playing a normal list featuring, Snorlax, but also Invincible Fly Pidgeot. If you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe and leave comments down below of what kind of decks you'd love to see me do. Anyways, I get one mulligan and my opponent decides to take it, and I am going second this game, so my opponent starts first with a little Minccino, and he's looking at his options, plays a trainer's mail, and off of his trainer's mail you will be finding a quick ball. I myself am not paying a ton of attention because I'm really happy with my hand and wanted to show it off. With quick ball he discards Fairy Energy, and he goes and finds the Fan Rotom, that coveted starter for normal decks. Now, he is double checking here to make sure he has all the guys he is looking for, and once he's done, he is going straight in, get 3 little guys, which are going to be Pidgey, Squavit, and Wingull. Now, my opponent puts Squavit back here because he's afraid of Cofagrigus donking him, and grabs Bidoof instead. At least it evolves into Barrel instead of sitting as a free prize the whole game. And then he decides to attach Manual Energy to Rotom and passes over to me. Now I have a Clovell in hand. The only thing Clovell can't get for me is Boulder. And unfortunately, I learned pretty quickly my Cofagrigus is prized. So goodbye early game pressure, I have to pivot to Wob instead. But it feels pretty good right here, because I need the Wob out ASAP to shut off my opponent's abilities, and I go for Ralts, and then I debate about Uxie or Inkay. I have the Malamar in hand, so that was why I was debating that, and now I need to pay for Retreat so I can get the Wob inactive. Luckily I have enough energy for that, so I manually retreat, go into Wob, and pass for turn. I have Evo Instance, I have Kirlia next turn, and I have Malamar as well. Now my opponent starts his turn off with a Sinlin, discarding Fairy Energy to draw 3, and he finds an Acrobike and uses it immediately, finding Crispin and Level Ball. He discards the Crispin and uses the Level Ball immediately. Here he is looking for a baby evolution, and the only acceptable one here is Pidgeot. He attaches Therapeutic to Minccino, plays the Parallel City to bench lock me, but also activate Fan Rotom's attack requirement, which lets him do 70 damage to Wob. Now I start off my turn by evolving my Malamar and playing a Colress Tenacity, getting Mystery Energy and Old Cemetery. I could have potentially gone for D-Valley, it was in deck, but Old Cemetery puts a lot of pressure on my opponent, who still needs to power up his guys. Evos Incense goes and grabs that Kirlia, and using Kirlia with my thin hand, I discard Float, opting to keep Mystery Energy and draw 2 more cards. I find Quick Ball, discard a Dark Energy, go get the Monkey, and attach the other Dark Energy I have in hand to activate its ability. Then I use Malamar to accelerate Psychic onto Kirlia. Gallade is one of the few guys I can use to knock out Snorlax, and I go ahead, use Monkey Dory, move 30 damage onto the Pidgeotto, and pass for turn. Now my opponent is going to start his turn with a good old Goose Hollow and goes to grab Artisan, Twin Energy, and Lux Cape. Artisan he plays immediately. He does not want to take ping damage from Old Cemetery and goes and gets his Snorlax. I am glad to see Artisan myself. I am struggling a little bit to set up my board. He puts the Lux Cape on Pidgeotto so Cofagrigus can't kill it, even though he's in my prizes, attaches the Twin Energy onto Snorlax, and bonks Wobbuffet for the KO. I promote into Kirlia, use the Artisan myself, get the Boulder out. That's a good amount of offensive pressure to potentially take care of Snorlax. Play the Arven, get the U-turn board, my only retreat tool left in decks, and I am trying to figure out here how to potentially get a Boulder off. If only my Goose Hollow wasn't prized so I could grab 2 cards with Tag Call. Unfortunately, I had to settle for Fog Crystal to grab a Psychic Energy, which isn't a total waste because Malamar can accelerate it back into play. Now I need to use Kirlia to discard the Psychic Energy so I can draw 2 cards and fill out my hand more to match my opponent's hand size. There are 3 cards I want to play right now. Unfortunately, I can only play 2 of them. I would have loved to play Counter Capture in this instance to gust up Snorlax, but I can't make that happen. Instead, I attach Mystery Energy and Accelerate Energy into play with Malamar. I attach the U-turn board to Krylia, reducing its retreat cost by 1, meaning I can manually retreat into the boulder, and with a matching hand size of 3-3, I can take the KO on the fan Rotom, taking my first prize. Now my opponent promotes Bidoof and starts his turn by evolving into Pelipper, which lets him search his deck or discard for any supporter. He goes through his deck and grabs Venona, which gets him the Pidgeot, the Bibarel, and the Squav? Not the Squav. It's still a very juicy target for Cofagrigus whenever he comes out. Now my opponent starts off by immediately evolving into Bibarel and attaching Floatstone. He benches a Oranguru as well, but holds the Pidgeotto since he wants to dig for resources. Oranguru gets him double colorless, not the craziest thing, draws 2 more with Bibarel. He finds a capture energy that'll work, but still has Airmail, looks at his 2 options and grabs VS Seeker. He evolves his Pidgeotto into Pidgeot and manual attaches for turn to Snorlax. It's fully charged up, retreats for free into the Snorlax, and that is Thumping Snore, taking out my only threat on board. Now I have to promote here before I know if Snorlax wakes up, so I go into the monkey since he can manually retreat, and yikes. Snorlax woke up. I am not very thrilled about that. I start off my turn with an Artisan, see what I have available, and pick up Uxie. And I start off my turn with discarding Buddy Buddy Puffin with Refinement and get 2 more cards. Field Floor happens to be one of them, and I play it immediately, getting rid of Lux Cape and his pivot option. I also have VS Seeker, and I opt to go for Colress's Tenacity. That can get me Horror Psychic, a regular Psychic, and most importantly, hit my D Valley to attack with Gallade this turn. So I play the D Valley, I use Malamar to charge up my Krylia, manual attach for turn as well, and with Ultra Ball I have to sack 2 cards on my hand and opt for Palpat, and Psychic Countercatcher still has value. Go grab Gallade, immediately use Buddy Catch to go search for a supporter. Here I go for Raihan so I can have it next turn. I won't be able to play it this turn since I played Colress's Tenacity. Pay for retreat with the monkey, and I take the KO with Gallade, moving my energy to Uxie. Now my opponent promotes his free retreat Pidgeotto and plays a Trekking Shoes. He discards Fairy Energy and gets another card to hand. He plays Arven, searching his deck for resources, and lands on Trick Coin and Night Stretcher. I am distraught seeing that Night Stretcher. I don't want to deal with Snorlax. I just got rid of him. He manual attaches Trick Coin and uses Ultra Ball himself to search his deck, but it's a whiff. He attaches double colorless to his Lax and uses Oranguru to draw cards. Nothing to play immediately, draws more with the barrel, and I am just waiting for him to pop a supporter to get Snorlax to attack this turn. And then he retreats into Minccino. He can't attack this turn, and he needs to buy himself some time to set up. I go grab Hex with Gallade. I don't want him to get any opportunity to set up next turn. Use the Malamar to accelerate to the Yamask. I am praying that I get Cofagrigus off my prizes, manual attach Dark Energy, and then play the Hex, taking the KO on the little Minccino. My opponent promotes Pidgeotto once again. He plays his own VS Seeker and uses it to grab Goose Hala. With Goose Hala, he discards Rescue Stretcher and Will, and searches his very thin deck for that powerful energy so his Snorlax can attack once again. He free retreats into the Snorlax. Perhaps I got greedy with my Gallade there, and does 180 damage, taking the KO on my Gallade. I promote into the Uxie, but my opponent does not wake up. Unfortunately, my Uxie doesn't damage him, neither does the Cofagrigus. I finally got off of prizes, but I do have a Raihan, which lets me accelerate an energy, which I can't really use, and to play and grab any one card from deck, and that is going to be Blacephalon. U-turn board from hand goes on to the Uxie. I use Malamar to accelerate onto that Blacephalon, free retreat with the Uxie, and I go for 100 damage counters on the Pidgeotto and 20 onto the Oranguru. Realistically, my opponent's Pidgeotto was pretty much dead that game. Will was gone. It would have been better to take a KO on one of his support mons or do a 60-60 damage split. Now my opponent here has the Guzma, which he plays, gusting up my Cofagrigus, hesitating a bit before retreating into his Pelipper. My opponent decides to bench Squav because he is KOing the Cofagrigus this turn, uses it, gets one card, it's Palpad, uses a Ringuru, gets 2 more cards, and plays his Hisuian Heavy Ball. Yep, those are the prizes that are still in there. However, it doesn't matter too much, he's just thinning his deck. He uses a barrel, draw 3 more, he only has 2 cards left in deck, and finds the Scoop Up Nick. That was what he was digging for. Scoops up the Pelipper, benches the Wingull back down, and plays the Palpad, getting back that Guzma and Sinlin to seal the game. He shuffles the Guzma back in, which I am loath to see because if I don't Hex again, which I'm pretty sure I can't, my opponent is gonna have game in a couple of turns. He uses special charge as well to get energy back in so he can power up his Snorlax again if needed, and that is Thumping Snore, taking the KO on my Cofagrigus as I promote my lowly Yuxi. I play a Zelf, I attach Horror Psychic to Monkey, and I play N. I know my opponent can dig through his entire deck, but I need to dig for resources myself. I find Lux Cape though, and my Hisuian Heavy Ball, which I played just to burn, and yep, there's the Goose Hollow I wanted a couple turns ago. And with the Lux Cape in hand, I see a way to at least buy time to try to get my board in a better state. And that starts with me going into the Monkey Dory, who I powered up and I attach Lux Cape to, and I go for the confusion, except he doesn't get confused, he's not affected by secondary effects, and I forgot that. And my opponent finds a Therapeutic Energy as well. He's digging for resources, getting a couple more cards. However, in my heart, I know he's not killing my Monkey at least, he is 10 damage short, but my opponent finds the Hex, and he hexes me, and then he goes for the 200 damage. I play a Super Rod at the start of my turn. In theory, if I can get a Boulder out, that's my best hope, so I shuffle back in Boulder and Cofagrigus, and I pay for retreat with the Monkey Dory going into the Yuxi, denying my opponent the 2 prizes from Lux Cape. And I go for the spread attack, putting damage all over his board. My opponent plays Escape Rope, and I'm like, I guess I can sack a Zelf. It's not doing too much in this board state. At least with Blacephalon, I could snipe kill. And my opponent goes into Wingull and plays the Guzma, and that is game. He goes, pulls up the Monkey Dory, and he is gone. And that was a really tough matchup, with the trickiest turn by far being that Blacephalon turn. Should I attack with Cofagrigus instead? I definitely shouldn't have killed Pidgeot in that moment. I mean, I got rid of his free retreat, but if I knocked out the Pelipper like I was considering, that could have limited his options greatly late game. Whatever happened, it was a close game and it was a very interesting match. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you do, be sure to share this with a friend, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye!